They say most people never fail at the finish line. They fail before the race even begins. They lose long before their feet ever touch the starting line. Not because they lack intelligence. Not because they lack talent. But because when the dream whispers, they turn away. They hesitate. They overthink. They wait for everything to be perfect. And in that waiting, their chance quietly dies. Dreams do not die in explosions. They die in silence. In the still moments where a single decision could change everything but isn't made. That is where greatness is lost. Not in the storms of life, but in the hesitation that comes before the first step. This is the brutal truth about human potential. It isn't the lack of opportunity that destroys most people. It's the lack of decision, the lack of belief, the lack of motion. The world is full of people with beautiful ideas, powerful visions. You said, or your gap K Bagheer Liko. ChatGPT said, of course. Here is your cinematic motivational script rewritten with no section breaks. No gaps, no intros, and no summaries. Just one seamless flow of powerful narration for your voiceover. They say most people never fail at the finish line. They fail before the race even begins. They lose long before their feet ever touch the starting line. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack talent, but because when the dream whispers, they turn away, they hesitate, they overthink, they wait for everything to be perfect, and in that waiting, their chance quietly dies. Dreams don't die in explosions, they die in silence, in the still moments where a single decision could change everything but isn't made. That is where greatness is lost. Not in the storms of life, but in the hesitation that comes before the first step. This is the brutal truth about human potential. It isn't the lack of opportunity that destroys most people. It's the lack of decision, the lack of belief, the lack of motion. The world is full of people with beautiful ideas, powerful visions, burning desires, but the graveyard is even fuller. It is crowded with people who once dreamed and never began. Hesitation is the quiet assassin of greatness. It wears the face of logic. It tells you to wait. It tells you to plan more. It tells you tomorrow will be better. But tomorrow is a lie to those who don't act today. History doesn't remember those who waited for permission. It remembers those who moved. Look at Thomas Edison, mocked, doubted, rejected, but he started anyway. Look at Walt Disney, fired from his job for lacking imagination, but he started anyway. Look at Henry Ford, laughed at for dreaming of cars for the common man, but he started anyway. The difference between those who build legacies and those who bury their dreams is not resources. It's not education. It's not privilege. It's the courage to start when the voice of fear is loudest. Most people think failure happens when you fall. No, failure happens when you never rise. The greatest war is not fought outside you. It's fought inside your own mind, between the part of you that wants to move and the part of you that wants to stay safe, between the fire of your dream and the gravity of your fear. The moment you say maybe later is the moment the dream begins to suffocate. The moment you let doubt speak louder than conviction. Fear does not need to kill your dream to win. It only needs to delay it until it dies on its own. People wait for clarity, they wait for courage, they wait for the perfect plan. But clarity does not come before you move, it comes after you take the step. Courage is not born in safety. It is born in action. The perfect plan doesn't exist, the only real plan is motion. This is why most people fail before they even begin, because they build their lives around waiting, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right support, waiting for someone to believe in them. But the world will never hand you a crown for standing still. The world bends for those who move. Look closely at the stories of giants, not the highlight reels, but the beginnings. Edison surrounded by darkness, Ford in a small workshop, Disney with nothing but drawings and a stubborn belief, Andrew Carnegie starting in poverty with no safety net. Their beginnings weren't glamorous, they were uncertain, they were terrifying, and yet they moved. That first step is where destiny is born. Most people fail before they begin because they misunderstand fear. They think fear is a stop sign. But fear is a signal. It means this matters. It means the road ahead can shape your life. The people who rise are not fearless. They are willing to act while afraid, willing to move while shaking, willing to walk into the unknown without a guarantee. Belief is not a soft word. It's a force. Belief is what keeps you building when no applause exists. Belief is what keeps you walking when your legs want to give up. Belief is what makes the world turn its head and take notice, but belief has a price. It demands that you trust yourself before anyone else does, and most people don't. That is why their dreams never leave the ground. When you begin, the world is silent, no one is clapping, no one understands, you will question yourself, you will doubt, you will be tempted to turn back. That is the threshold where most people lose. They confuse discomfort with danger, but discomfort is the birthplace of greatness. You don't grow in certainty, you grow in the unknown. Your future is built in the moments no one sees, in the steps you take when no one is watching. Look at Abraham Lincoln, failure after failure, defeat after defeat, and yet he kept moving, not because the path was clear, but because his purpose was bigger than his fear. Look at Steve Jobs, building in a garage when the world didn't care. Look at Oprah Winfrey, stepping into a world that underestimated her. They didn't wait to feel ready, they decided, and decision is everything. Decision creates momentum, and momentum breaks chains. Hesitation is seductive, it whispers safety, it tells you the storm will pass on its own. But storms don't pass for those who never move, they drown in them. Action is the oxygen of your dream. Without it, the fire dies, and so most people fail not because they tried and lost, but because they never tried at all. They chose comfort over purpose, fear over fire, hesitation over destiny. This world belongs to those who move, not those who wait. Look at the clock. It never pauses. Time does not wait for you to be ready. It does not ask for your permission. Every second you spend hesitating is a second stolen from the life you could have built. Every not now is a quiet funeral for a dream. And if you think time is kind, you are wrong. Time is ruthless. It rewards the bold and buries the hesitant. The people who rise do not have superpowers. They have decision. They make a single, defining choice to move. That's it. One moment of courage. One step. That's how everything begins. They don't know the whole path. They don't have all the answers. But they have the fire to take the first step, and that is enough. When you decide, truly decide, the world shifts. Doors that were invisible begin to appear. People who never noticed you begin to pay attention. Resources begin to align. Not because the world suddenly became easy, but because your energy changed. Decision creates movement. Movement creates momentum. Momentum creates power. Why do most people fail before they begin? Because they underestimate the cost of hesitation. They think they have time. They think opportunities will wait for them. But the world does not stand still. Someone else is moving while they are planning. Someone else is building while they are hesitating. Someone else is claiming the life they wanted while they are still thinking about it. The future does not wait. Fear is a liar. It tells you that waiting makes you safer, but the only thing waiting guarantees is regret. Regret is heavier than failure. Failure teaches you. Regret haunts you. Regret sits at the end of your life and whispers, "You could have been more." Regret is the shadow of an unlived dream. And if you are not careful, that shadow will follow you to your last breath. This is why belief matters. Not blind faith. Not fantasy. Real belief, the kind that moves mountains, begins inside. It is forged in quiet moments when no one believes in you. It is the force that turns whispers into wars. It is what Edison held onto when his lab burned down. It is what Lincoln held onto after loss. It is what Ford held onto when every investor walked away. They understood something most people never do. Your belief is either your prison or your power. If you believe in your limits, you will live in them. If you believe in your vision, you will rise through everything that tries to stop you. You must decide which voice to obey. The voice of fear or the voice of your future. Both will speak, but only one will build your life. The beginning is the hardest part, not because the path is impossible, but because the enemy is invisible. It's not the world outside. It's the war inside. People think success belongs to those who are lucky. No, success belongs to those who begin. The ones who start before the applause, before the guarantee, before the perfect timing. Every great name you know once stood where you are now, with a dream and a decision. That's all it takes. The ones who rise are not different from you. They felt the same fear. They faced the same uncertainty. The difference is they refused to let hesitation win. They chose fire over fear. And that choice changed everything. They think they have failed because they lack luck, but the real failure happened long before that. It happened in the quiet moment when they decided to wait, when they convinced themselves that standing still was somehow safer than moving forward. Fear tells them stories, sweet stories about security, about a future where everything aligns perfectly, but that future never comes. The only moment that ever belonged to them was the one they just gave away. Hesitation is a thief dressed like a friend. It doesn't attack loudly. It wraps its hands around your potential so slowly You don't even realize it's disappearing until there's nothing left. That's why the world is full of people with brilliant ideas and empty lives, because they never took the first breath of action. Success does not need permission, it needs movement. The first step is not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be taken. No one remembers how Walt Disney's first sketch looked. They remember the empire he built. No one remembers Thomas Edison's first wire that snapped in his hand. They remember the light. No one remembers Henry Ford's first machine that failed. They remember the revolution they began. They didn't wait for clarity, they created it. They didn't wait for courage, they grew it through movement. Action is the seed of every empire. Hesitation is the coffin. When people say they're not ready, what they really mean is they're afraid. Afraid to be seen starting small, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of failing in public. But that fear is a mask hiding something far more dangerous: regret. Regret that waits quietly, patiently, because it knows it has time to catch you at the end of your life and whisper in your ear, "You could have been more." That whisper is heavier than any failure could ever be. Failure stings for a moment. Regret rots for a lifetime. They fail before they begin because they demand certainty from a world that owes them none. They want a guarantee of success before they commit. They want the applause before the performance. They want the reward before the labor. But the world doesn't work like that. You move first, then it moves with you. Decision comes first, results follow, always. The people who rise are not fearless. They are simply done negotiating with hesitation. They understand that the fear of starting never goes away. It only loses its power when you act in spite of it. Napoleon Hill once said, "Do not wait. The time will never be just right." And he was right. The perfect moment is a myth used by the fearful to dress their hesitation in logic. There is no perfect time, only time wasted. There is no perfect plan, only plans rewritten by those who dare to move. There is no perfect opportunity, only opportunities created through courage. The difference between an idea and a legacy is action, always. Inside every person lives two voices. One whispers, "Play it safe," and the other whispers, "Become more." Most people spend their lives obeying the first. It's quiet, comfortable, predictable. But at the end of that road there's nothing but silence and regret. The second voice is dangerous. It demands sacrifice. It demands exposure. It demands courage. But at the end of that road is power, impact, legacy. Every dreamer must decide which voice to follow. When Ford imagined a car for ordinary people, experts laughed. They said it was madness. He didn't debate them, he built. When Edison failed thousands of times, people mocked. He didn't explain, he worked. When Disney pitched a mouse in a castle, they said he'd starve. He didn't argue, he drew. Greatness doesn't answer doubt with explanations. It answers with execution. That's what most never understand. You cannot talk your way to greatness, you must build your way there. Most people fail before they begin because they allow doubt to speak longer than action. They let the voice of fear grow roots in their mind until it becomes truth. They let the opinions of the small-minded dictate the size of their dreams. But every moment they wait, someone else is moving, someone else is building, someone else is claiming the destiny they wanted. The world doesn't wait for the hesitant, it rewards the bold. Action is the most powerful prayer. The world listens when you move. Opportunities don't knock, they respond. When you show up with conviction, doors open. When you walk with belief, the path reveals itself. But not before, never before. Belief is not about knowing every step. It's about taking the first one with unshakable faith in your ability to figure out the rest. People fail before they begin because they build excuses faster than they build momentum. They say they don't have time, but time is built through priorities. They say they don't have resources, but resources appear when commitment does. They say they're not ready, but readiness is born in movement, not in waiting. The truth is they are not lacking anything but courage. Fear is not your enemy. It's proof that you're standing at the edge of something important. Fear means you care. Fear means it matters. And if it matters, you must move. Courage isn't about silence in the face of fear. It's about walking through it, one trembling step at a time. Every great name you admire once stood where you are right now, staring at a dream that felt too big, a mountain that felt too high, a world that felt too far away, and they moved anyway. Failure is not what kills dreams, hesitation is. Failure teaches, it gives you muscle, it gives you story, it gives you power. Hesitation gives you nothing but decay. It is a slow death that no one sees until it's too late. If you fall, you can rise, but if you never begin, there's nothing to rise from, nothing to build, nothing to become. The first step is never glamorous. No music plays when you take it. No spotlight shines. It's quiet, uncomfortable, awkward. But that step is everything. That step is the line between ordinary and extraordinary, between dreamers who die in silence and builders who live forever in legacy. This is the hidden truth that most people never grasp. The door to everything they want isn't locked. It's waiting. But it only opens to movement, not intention, not hope, not wishful thinking, only movement. Every day someone with less experience, less talent, less education, less support rises above someone who had everything but waited too long. Because the universe doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. You must stop negotiating with your dream. Stop asking it to wait until you're comfortable. Stop demanding certainty. Stop waiting for applause. Stop giving fear the driver's seat. Your future is not a lottery ticket, it's a blueprint, and it starts with the courage to take the first step when no one believes but you. They spend their whole lives building excuses like walls around their dreams, protecting themselves not from danger but from growth. They convince themselves that caution is wisdom. But there is a difference between caution and fear. Wisdom prepares, fear delays, and delay is where dreams die. People say they will start when they feel ready. But ready is a lie the mind tells to protect itself. No one ever felt ready when they changed the world. They simply decided that their purpose was louder than their fear. The moment you make that decision, something shifts, not outside you but inside. You stand taller, you breathe deeper, and the weight of hesitation starts to crack. Action is the language of belief. If you truly believe in the life you say you want, you will move toward it even if the ground shakes beneath you. That's what separates those who live with power from those who live with regret. They act, not because the path is clear, but because their conviction is real. Look at Abraham Lincoln, rejected, defeated, broken again and again, but every time the world tried to bury him, he stood back up, not because it was easy, but because he decided he would not let fear write his story. Look at Thomas Edison, facing thousands of failures, mocked, ridiculed, called foolish, and yet he walked into the darkness with nothing but a vision of light. Look at Walt Disney, bankrupt, told he lacked imagination, and yet he painted worlds no one else could see. They were not born with some divine advantage. They simply began when everyone else was still waiting. Most people fail before they begin because they allow doubt to become louder than destiny. They feed fear daily and starve their dreams of action. They let other people's disbelief become their own. They look at the mountain and convince themselves it's too high, not realizing every mountain falls to the feet of the one who keeps climbing. It's not the dream that's impossible. It's the hesitation that makes it so. If you take the first step, the mountain begins to move, not because it's smaller, but because you are stronger than you think. Discipline is the bridge between belief and reality. Without discipline, belief fades into fantasy. Every empire was built not on a single moment of motivation, but on the daily, ruthless, quiet discipline of showing up when it's hard, of pushing when no one is watching, of building when no one is clapping. Most people fail before they begin because they believe they need motivation to act, but motivation is temporary. Discipline is eternal. Motivation gets you started when you feel good. Discipline keeps you moving when everything falls apart. There will be mornings when doubt grips your chest like chains. Nights when silence feels louder than your dreams. Moments when quitting whispers like a friend. And in those moments, your destiny will ask you one question. Will you rise or will you wait? The truth is, the world doesn't owe you an easy path. It doesn't owe you certainty. It doesn't owe you understanding. It gives nothing to the hesitant, but it gives everything to those who move. They say time heals, but time does not heal dreams that were never born. Time buries them. Time turns possibility into regret. Time takes the flame you once held and leaves you with ashes. And that's why hesitation is the most dangerous form of failure. It disguises itself as patience. Patience is waiting with purpose. Hesitation is waiting with fear. And fear does not keep your dream safe. It starves it to death. You must stop giving your power away to the voice that tells you not yet. There is no later, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. The greats understood this. Ford didn't wait for better tools. He built with what he had. Edison didn't wait for funding. He invented in darkness. Lincoln didn't wait for applause. He walked into war with conviction. They moved with imperfect steps, and those imperfect steps changed the world. The truth is brutal. No one is coming to save your dream. No one will carry it for you. No one will fight for it more than you. It's your fire, your responsibility, your legacy, and the longer you wait, the colder it becomes. Your dream is not waiting on resources. It's waiting on courage. It's not waiting on support. It's waiting on decision. It's not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you. And when you finally decide, something remarkable happens. The universe begins to respond, not with guarantees, but with opportunities. Doors you couldn't see before begin to appear. not because they weren't there, but because your hesitation blinded you. Momentum is a living thing, it feeds on movement, and once you begin, it multiplies. One step becomes two, two steps become 10, and the life you once whispered about begins to take shape. But you must be willing to face the silence, the uncertainty, the loneliness of the beginning, because the beginning is always quiet, the beginning is always uncomfortable, the beginning is where most people give up, but it's also where legends are born. Every person who built something extraordinary once stood in that same silence. Hands shaking, heart racing, no promise of success, just a decision to start. Fear will follow you, doubt will whisper, failure will visit, but if your purpose is strong enough, nothing can stop you. Purpose is the fire that burns through hesitation. Belief is the blade that cuts through fear. Discipline is the hammer that shapes destiny. And resilience is the shield that keeps you standing when the world tries to break you. That is the truth most people never embrace. And that is why most fail before they begin. You will never be fully ready, you will never have all the answers, but neither did they, the ones you admire, the ones who built empires, the ones who changed history. They began scared, uncertain, unprepared, and they became great because they moved anyway. The greatest tragedy is not in falling. It is in never rising at all. The greatest pain is not in trying and losing. It is in living with the weight of a dream you never gave a chance to breathe. Every day you hesitate, the life you want moves one step further away. Every maybe later becomes a wall. Every excuse becomes a chain. But every action, no matter how small, is a spark, and enough sparks can burn down a lifetime of doubt. You are not lacking opportunity, you are not lacking time, you are not lacking strength, you are only lacking the decision to begin. And once you make it, truly make it, everything changes. The world belongs to the bold, the ones who act when they're afraid, the ones who walk when others freeze, the ones who decide when others doubt. This is the truth no one tells you. Your first step will be the hardest, but it will also be the most powerful. One moment of courage can outweigh a lifetime of hesitation. One breath of action can change everything. This is why most people fail before they begin, not because their dreams were too big, but because they were too small in their belief. They thought the world would give them permission. But the world gives nothing. You must take it, not with arrogance, but with relentless commitment, not with noise, but with unstoppable movement. The path will never be easy. It's not supposed to be, because ease does not build greatness, resistance builds strength, struggle builds character, pain builds legends, and the fire you walk through at the start will become the light others follow later. And when the world grows quiet and there's nothing left between you and the dream but a decision, that's where everything is decided. Not in the noise, not in the applause, not in the spotlight, but in that raw, private moment where you either rise or you shrink, where you either step or you stand still, where you either give your destiny permission to live or let it fade into the darkness. This is the moment that separates the few who build legacies from the many who live in shadows. This is the moment most people turn away. They tell themselves they'll try later. They tell themselves they'll find a better time. They tell themselves they're being smart, but deep down they know they've just chosen comfort over courage, hesitation over destiny, fear over fire. The world does not reward the one who waits. It rewards the one who moves. It bends to those who refuse to be paralyzed by what-ifs. It listens to the language of action, not excuses. Every great builder of history, every name carved into the foundation of progress, faced the same moment, the moment before everything began, the moment where fear screamed and logic warned and doubt whispered. They didn't have more time than you. They didn't have more clarity. They didn't have more certainty. They simply decided. Thomas Edison decided when everyone said he was wasting his life. Walt Disney decided when they laughed at his dreams. Henry Ford decided when every expert said it couldn't be done. Abraham Lincoln decided after being broken more times than most men can endure. Napoleon Hill decided to speak truth when most people couldn't even see it. None of them were chosen, they chose themselves. You can carry a dream in your mind your entire life, but if you never let it touch the ground, it will die with you. You can imagine greatness every day, but if you don't build it, it remains a ghost that will follow you until your final breath. Most people spend their lives haunted not by what they did, but by what they didn't do, not by the failures they faced, but by the chances they never took, and at the end of the road, they look back and realize the enemy was never the world. It was themselves. Hesitation is a prison without walls. No one builds it for you, you build it yourself, one excuse at a time, one fear at a time, one delay at a time, and when the years pass, you look around and realize you're still standing in the same place, staring at a door you never opened, all because you wanted certainty before you had courage, but courage comes first, always first. That is the law every great life is built on. It is the one thing you cannot escape. When you move, even the smallest step, the world begins to shift. The air changes, doors reveal themselves, people you've never met appear, opportunities unfold like a map that was always waiting for your footsteps to activate it. Movement is the key. It is the trigger. It is the signal to life itself that you are ready. But as long as you stay still, nothing answers you, because silence is the reward of hesitation. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, you will be afraid. Yes, there will be days where you question everything. Nights where your doubt is louder than your heartbeat. Mornings where the weight of the unknown feels unbearable. But if you keep moving, something extraordinary happens. You grow, your shoulders become broader than your fear, your voice steadier than your doubt, your belief louder than the noise of the world. Every small step becomes a hammer against the wall of hesitation. Every breath of action chips away at the limits you once thought were permanent. This is what most people never give themselves the chance to discover. They want strength before they start. But strength is not given to you at the beginning. It's forged through motion, through pressure, through walking forward when every part of you wants to turn back. Strength is not built in comfort, it is carved in resistance. Every legend you admire once stood where you are now, unsure, scared, but they chose to build, and in building they became unstoppable. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for the noise to quiet. Stop waiting for permission. The dream inside you will not wait forever. It will grow restless. It will fade. And one day it will be too quiet to hear. Do not let hesitation write the story of your life. When history looks back, it does not speak of the ones who almost started. It speaks of the ones who dared to begin. It speaks of those who decided that fear would not be the author of their destiny. It speaks of the builders, the doers, the believers who refused to stay still. It speaks of people who looked at the impossible and said, "Watch me." Your story is still unwritten. The ink is in your hands, the page is blank, the world will never hand you certainty. It will hand you a choice, and that choice will repeat every single day until you answer it. Will you wait, or will you begin? Will you hesitate, or will you rise? The decision is yours, it has always been yours. And if you rise, if you choose to move, if you choose to burn through hesitation and fear, then everything changes. The world will not give you an easy path, but it will give you a living one. A path that grows as you walk it. A future that bends as you shape it. A life that breathes because you had the courage to breathe first. Most people fail before they even begin because they never make this choice. They live small because they think waiting is safe, but waiting is where dreams are buried. Alive. Don't bury yours. Build it. Even if it's hard, even if it's slow, even if no one believes in it yet. The dream doesn't need applause to grow. It needs action. And the moment you decide, truly decide, is the moment the world begins to listen. Breathe. Stand. Begin. Because hesitation ends where your life truly starts. Do not wait another day. Do not bargain with fear. Do not let hesitation rob you of a life that was meant to be lived fully. The first step is yours. The choice is yours. The power has always been yours. The world is not waiting for the perfect version of you. It's waiting for the real one, the one who moves.